good? Good afternoon to everyone tuning in, and welcome back to Drisdale Field for our round 3 matchup between Eckerd College's Tritons and Flagler College's Saints. Round 3 between these two teams, as yesterday we had a Valentine's evening showdown, but it was anything but love from the Saints, a complete decimation. Today's game was slightly closer. Eckerd College's Tritons opened up their scoring midway through, but Flagler College still secured an 8-3 win. And for these two, it's going to be an answer of Triton. Can they bounce back in round 3 with the potential to close out and win this series of games tomorrow? And Saints, can they continue to apply the pressure? We'll bring you the starting lineups in just a short moment. The first pitch is a strike to open up the account for the Saints. Starting off for the Saints, from the outfield left to right, we have Tyler McClanahan at left field, A.J. Hunterberg in center with Caden Kresak on the right, Peyton Palladino holding third base, Carson Page at second, and Trip Davis at first. Taylor Schultz at shortstop, Jesse Sullivan at catcher, and starting at pitching today is Fisher. Second pitch is going to be a foul out to the first baseline. Foul once again out to the first baseline. Cam Gilbert squares off with Daniel Fisher. 1-2 on the count. Foul's just outside on the third baseline. And that's a high drive down center field. Hunterberg is there to collect for the first out of the game. Next up to bat is Luis Garrido. Had himself a single base hit in the previous game today. Looking to open up his account early. That one caught low and inside for 1-0 count. Swing and a miss. Another swing and a miss. Fisher catching Luis Garrido, sleeping with these fastballs. 1-2 on the count. His pitching has been a very key factor for Flagler College in these 2 wins. Once again, catches him swinging. Fisher has a beautiful start to this game. Already 2 outs on 2 batters. So Ryan Gargett steps next up to the plate. Daniel Fisher throws another strike. High drive down center field, but Hunterberg backing up to collect, makes the diving grab, and that will close out the top of the first. It's a 1-2-3 performance from Fisher. Beautiful way to start the game for the Saints, and we will trade off places. Saints up to bat. Coming soon. And we're back at Drysdale Field. Strong start for the Saints as we have a 1-2-3 from Daniel Fisher. Starting lineup for the Tritons from left outfield to right. We have Trip Haddad on left, Cam Gowick in center, and Luis Garrido on the right. Christian Cabina holding first base. Dawson Jones at second and Ryan Gargett at third. Joey Bazidlo holding shortstop. Christian Perez as the catcher. And starting at pitcher today is Davian Giles, the freshman. First up to bat for the Saints is Taylor Schultz. He's put up 2 solid performances in the first 2 games between these 2 colleges. There was a strike on the first one. Was at bat 4 times in yesterday's game, scoring 2 runs. 1 base hit. Only struck out once in the previous game today. Two one on the count. Davian Giles trying to find similar success as Daniel Fisher on the mound. There was a third ball, that one on the inside. Second strike for Schultz. That one a little bit low. Umpire gives it to him. Full count for Davian Giles' first set of pitches today. Fouled out on the first baseline. Still a full count. And for Taylor Schultz, he had a game yesterday and today, starting both games Have to wonder if you're going to see a little bit of fatigue set in as the afternoon heats up. Bouncing ball. Shortstop is here to collect. Throws on the way. And Taylor Schultz is not able to get safe on first base. First out for the Saints.
The center fielder, number 17, A.J. Hunterberg.
Up next at the plate, A.J. Hunterberg. First strike thrown in for A.J. Hunterberg. 5 times at bat in today's previous game. Scored himself a run and had a base hit for himself. Davian Giles getting another strike on the board. 0-2 for the count. Hunterberg had himself a big performance in last night's game as well. One of the primary reasons at bat for the high-scoring game for the Saints, as that one fouls out behind. 1-2 on the count. Line drive, right center. Cam Gelwick is there to collect. And A.J. Hunterberg safe on first base. Put that one right over Joey Bazidlo's head, right in between center and shortstop.
Number 44, Jesse Sullivan.
Jesse Sullivan steps next up to the plate. First strike thrown, and for Jesse Sullivan, most RBI from last night's game on the Saints at 4. Also had himself 2 base hits at 5 times at bat. 0-1 on the count. Skiles just tries to catch Hunterberg on first base. But there, A.J. Hunterberg goes. Fouls out on the first baseline, though, so he will return to the first bag. First ball thrown for Giles. That one inside and high. 1-2 on the count. Fouls out on the first baseline. Still 1-2. And for Saints, those stolen base attempts have been a big factor in their game plan as throughout these first 2 games. Constantly keeping pitcher on their toes. There, A.J. Hunterberg goes. It's a bouncing line. Shortstop collects. Bazidlo throwing to first base, and he will catch Jesse Sullivan before he can get safe on first. Hunterberg, though, successfully makes it to second. He's safe on there. 2 outs for the Saints.
The right fielder, number 1, Caden Kresak.
Caden Kresak will be up next, the right fielder. First ball to the left. Second ball thrown, just a bit to the left. For Caden Kresak, 2 runs scored, 1 base hit on 4 attempts in today's previous game for the senior. Giles will throw a first strike, 2-1 on the count, 2 outs. Third ball thrown. That one too far to the left. He's just trying not to let Kenny Kresak get a real connection on the swing. 3-1 on the count. Connects. Low inside. Bazzilo's not able to collect. It's taken up by Trip Haddad. He's able to get it to the pitcher. A.J. Hunterberg safe on third. Caden Kresak safe on first. It's Carson Page steps up next to the plate, trying to secure the Saints' first points. Got Hunterberg on third. Was a relatively quiet game from him today. 5 times at bat, but not able to find too much. Let's see if he can secure Flagler's first points in today's game. Strike one's thrown. I think for the Saints, would really like to start this first inning with some points on the board. With only 1 out to give. Foul ball outside on the third baseline. Count is 0-2. Another foul on the same third baseline. Page is trying to get a good connection, clear enough space to get a run in for Hunterberg. See if he can deliver. Strike 3 goes through, and Davian Giles is able to get the Tritons through the first inning with no points scored for the Saints. Had a big opportunity to open their account in the bottom of the first as we move on to the second inning. Still 0-0, and we'll be right back. As we transition innings here, today's game is brought to you by Carrabba's, so close you can taste it. South State Bank, welcome to Banking Forward, and Chick-fil-A, eat more chicken. Daniel Fisher starts off the second inning. Christian Cabina faces off with him. First strike thrown. Daniel Fisher catches him with a fastball down Broadway. 1-1 on the count. For the Tritons, they were able to strike out right at the end of the first with a runner on third base. Would really like to open up their account. High line drive down the middle, but Hunterberg is there to collect for the first out of the second inning.
Catcher number 6, Christian Perez.
Christian Perez is called to duty next. His first strike is thrown. Daniel Fisher testing them with these early fastballs. That one not going to quite hit the zone. 1-1 on the count. Strike two. Second ball thrown. That one low to the left. That one connect. The bouncing ball to shortstop. Bazidlo's there to collect. Makes the throw to Trip Davis. Catches Christian Perez before he can reach the bag. And that'll be the second out. The top of the second inning.
Designated hitter number 9, Reed Lyle.
Reed Lyle steps up next, the designated hitter for the Tritons. And that'll be first ball. Driving down the baseline, Trip Davis is not able to collect it with a diving catch. It's Reed Lyle safe on first base.
Second baseman number 3, Dawson Jones.
He hit that low down the first baseline, and Trip Davis just one step too short to collect that in time. Dawson Jones at the plate now. Ball number 2, that one taken a bit too high. 2-0 on the count. Dawson Jones squares off with Daniel Fisher, first time batting in this game. Swing and a miss for his first strike. Now 2-1 with 1 out to give. He's going to try to steal the base, but he is not going to get there. Reed Lyle, one step too short, and that will close out the top of the second. Tried to catch them slipping on the ball, but Taylor Schultz too quick for Reed Lyle. And the game remains scoreless as we change positions.
Leading off for the Saints, the designated hitter, number 36, Eli.
And welcome back. Still scoreless this afternoon here at Drysdale Field. So Eli Maddox starts off things off with a bouncing ball in the infield. Bazidlo's there to collect. Gets out to Christian Cabina for the first out.
The third baseman, number 6, Peyton Palladino.
Next up is Peyton Palladino at the plate. Hits a high drive, right center field, drops right in between the two. Luis Garrido's there to collect, but it's too late. Peyton Palladino safe on first.
The first baseman, number 7.
Dropped that one right between Jones and Garrido. Trip Davis faces off with Davian Giles now. First ball, that one inside. Too close to him. 1-0 on the count. Second ball inside once again. Giles just trying to get the pick off on Palladino. Both of these teams putting pretty high prioritization on that throughout both of the games they've played so far. Not wanting anyone getting too ahead of themselves. Tries it once again. Still safe. Two and 0 on the count for Trip Davis and Davian Giles. He's going to load up this time. He shows bunt. Giles flubs the catch. He's going to make the throw, but it's too late. And it's right over Christian Camina's head, and they're going to try third and second. And they are both safe A little bit of a flubbed grab from Davian Giles along with a high throw. And a bunt turns into a double for Trip Davis. And Peyton Palladino advances to third.
The left fielder, number 18, Tyler McClanahan.
Trip Davis just going to get his gloves off before McClanahan takes his walk to the plate. For the Saints, once again, another chance to get some points on the board. Had a similar position to this at the bottom of the first. Let's see if they can capitalize on their positions this time. Perez just goes up and has a word with his pitcher before they resume. Gets his first strike up against McClanahan. McClanahan scored himself a run today's previous game. Now he's got a chance to assist his teammate Palladino in doing so as well. The second strike is thrown, and now it's 2-2 on the count. Fifth pitch is thrown too low for his third ball. Now we have a full count. Palladino ready to take home plate if given the chance, but it's strike three for Tyler McClanahan, and Davian Giles will send him back to the dugout. Only the second out, so for the Saints, still a chance to secure their first run of this game at the bottom of the second, and batting order resets, so Taylor Schultz will step back up to try to secure his team their first points of today's game. Giles will catch him on the first strike. Curve that one just to the outside of the zone, and it's 0-1 on the count. Taylor Schultz connects with that one down the infield. He will get out, and Palladino does not score, and we will trade places once again as we head into the third inning for the Saints. Once again, unable to capitalize on that man safe on third base. Made the connection he wanted, but just didn't get the angle right, and went straight into Dawson Jones's hands to get him out. And we're still scoreless going into the third inning. While we transition innings, this game is brought to you by Capital Financial Strategies, a full-service financial company serving North Florida and South Georgia. Coldwell Banker Premier Realty, fulfilling the dream of homes since 1906. And Evans Automotive, quality work at a fair price. And we'll be right back with the top of the third. And we're back with the top of the third as the Saints secure their first out. Mason Gray making an immediate impact on his substitution playing left field. That first strike going high and left for him to collect. A couple more substitution for the Saints. Caden Kresak now playing center outfield, and McClanahan moving to the right side. Now it's Trip Haddad at the plate. 1-0 on the count. That one fouls outside first baseline. Daniel Fisher catches him with a fast down Broadway. It's been a theme of his throws so far earlier in this game. Just trying to test the reflexes of his opponent. Strike three comes in. And he will send Trip Haddad back to the dugout. It's the final man in the batting order steps up for the Triton shortstop, Joey Bazidlo. For the Saints, it's been two people stepping up, two people out as Trip Haddad hits it right down the center. A flub catch from Daniel Fisher, throws in time, and he will catch Joey Bazidlo before he catches the first base. Not able to get there in time. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Daniel Fisher and the Saints as we will trade positions once again. Bottom of the third coming up. And we're back to Drysdale Field with the bottom of the third. Stepping up to the plate for his first time today is Mason Gray. Had an important catch at the top of the third to get their first out. Now is asked to bat for the Saints as David Giles will throw his first strike. Loads up once again. Shows the bunt, but isn't able to make the connection. He will throw his second strike. 0-2 on the count. Isn't able to make the connection. That one will foul out behind. Still 0-2 on the count. Drops that one a little bit too low for the first ball. 1-2 on the count. Makes the connection, a bouncing ball in the infield, but David Giles is able to collect, pitches it to his teammate. And they are able to get Mason Gray out. The connection between Davian Giles and Cabina.
The catcher, number 44, Jesse Sullivan.
Jesse Sullivan will be the next man up for the Saints. He's had a great time batting in these last two games. See if he can get himself on the base at the bottom of this third inning. 1-0 on the count. High drive. It's a flyer down center field. Gelwick swoops under to collect for his second out.
The center fielder, number 1, Caden Kresak.
For the Saints, making good connections on the swings, but one and one on the count. Makes a good connection down the third baseline. It's high, and Trip Haddad is not able to get there in time. Caden Kresak tries first, and he's going to make it to second. Secures himself a double. That one connected perfectly down the third baseline, right out of Trip Haddad's reach. And ultimately, for the senior, he's able to grab himself an easy double. So now Carson Page is at plate, trying to follow up Kresak's connection. See if he can get him on third base, potentially more. Second ball thrown, that one too far to the right and high. See Giles just constantly checking that blind spot. Trying to see if they can grab Kresak before he can make the steal. Strike one will be thrown, 2-1 on the count. Makes a connection, but it's ultimately fouled down the third baseline. Now 2-2 on the count. For Kresak, he's just creeping down that left side. As Carson Page will make a connection high down right field. But Luis Garrido is there to collect that one in the outfield. And ultimately, that will conclude the first third of this game, scoreless on both sides. For the Saints, can't help but feel they got to be slightly disappointed. They had a couple good positions, multiple times a runner on third, but they just weren't able to make that last step to get their first runs on the board, and we are still scoreless at Drysdale Field. Back at Drysdale Field, the Saints making another substitution, this time in the infield. George Gilson will replace Trip Davis at first base. And Trip Davis himself will move to replace Jesse Sullivan as the catcher. So we begin the top of the fourth. Batting order reset for the Tritons. Cam Gelwick steps up to start us off on the fourth. Both teams still trying to open up their accounts in this game. That will be a first strike for him. That one too low. Hits the dirt for the first ball. 1-1 on the count. For Cam Gelwick, responsible for a score in the previous game between these two. Got himself 1 RBI, 1 base hit at 5 times at bat. Daniel Fisher throws his second strike, looking for a third, and he will get it. Bouncing ball down the infield for Luis Garrido, and he will get there in time. Flub catch. Luis Garrido just looks at second base, but he is not going to try his luck. Safe on first, though. Had to make a fast throw that George Gilson just wasn't able to get in time. Doesn't pay for it too dearly. And Luis Garrido will grab himself a single.
Third baseman number 28, Ryan Gargett.
So Ryan Gargett steps up next. First ball thrown far to the right. First strike thrown. Curls that one inside. 1-1 on the count. For Danny Fisher, you just start seeing him switching up these throws. Started off the game, a lot of fastballs thrown. Now just trying to see if he can get some of these pitches to break for him. So we're at 1-2 on the count. Ryan Gargett trying to get himself on base. Fisher will just try to pick off Garrido, but not in time. Strike 3. Swing and a miss for Ryan Gargett. And that will result in the second out.
First baseman number 33, Christian Camino.
So that is Daniel Fisher's 4th strikeout of this game. Looking to make it a 5th to keep the Tritons quiet at the top of the 4th. Christian Cabina is at plate. Trying to see if he can get himself on base. It's a first strike thrown. 0-1 on the count. That one two inside for the first ball. Danny Fisher just checks Luis Garrido before he loads up the pitch. Not able to find him there again. Both these teams, it's been really important for them. These stolen bases, not wanting to give each other any freebies. As Christian Cabino waits patiently. Taps the plate, gets himself ready. Swing, but a foul down the third baseline. Still 1-2, sorry, on the count. One more out to give for the Tritons. Just trying to see if they can find a crack in the door for themselves to step through in this game. Strip Davis isn't able to make the catch, and there goes Luis Garrido. Secures himself safe on second base. You can see him move slightly to the right. Maybe a bit of communication between him and his pitcher, but does not go to plan, and Luis Garrido is able to safely get himself to second. Now 2-2 on the count. Swings, and it's a bouncing ball in the infield. Taylor Schultz is there to collect, but the play is stopped by the umpires. So they're going to call this one a wash. Luis Garrido will escort himself back to second plate. And ultimately they call that a ball and a pitch clock violation. So now it's a full count for Christian Cabina. Still has Luis Garrido on second, but only one more out to give. He's got to make this one count, and he does. Splits the shortstop and the third baseman. Is Luis Garrido safe on third, and he will safely get himself on first. Split Palladino and Schultz there perfectly. Is able to escort Luis Garrido to third. Get himself on first, and now for the Tritons, they are in a position to score their first run of the game and strike first blood. So Christian Perez is up next. For the Tritons, they've now found themselves in a position to take the lead in this game. High flying ball down center field, but Caden Kresak moves over to collect it. And what is ultimately a good position for Luis Garrido on third base is not able to turn into the first run of the game. High flying ball down left center field, collected by Caden Kresak, the senior, and we are still scoreless as we move into the bottom of the fourth, with Flagler College to bat up next. In the meantime, this broadcast is brought to you by Endorphin Farms, a fully licensed sauce and manufacturing facility. Hero of Florida, your partner for the complete equipment lifestyle. Jersey Mike Subs, a sub above, and Mowry Law Firm, proud supporter of Flagler Athletics. We'll be right back for the bottom of the fourth. And we're back at Drysdale Field with the bottom of the fourth inning. It's Eli Maddox, the designated hitter, will try himself up against Davian Giles. That one too far to the right, and it's the first ball between the two. 1-0 on the count. First strike, 1-1. For both these teams, you got to wonder, as we reach into the midpoint of this game, who is going to be the one to break the deadlock? That one too low. 2-1 on the count. Both teams have found themselves in good positions, but just not able to put the final piece of the puzzle together. Makes a connection, but it's a foul down the third baseline, just outside. Still 2-2 on the count. Guile loads up, makes the connection this time right over second baseman. But Luis Garrido is there to collect for the first out.
The third baseman, number 6, Peyton Palladino.
And that will summon Peyton Palladino, the third baseman. Makes a connection right away, high, left center field. And it looks like Trip Haddad right over his head. He's not able to get there. Peyton Palladino will try his luck on second, and he is able to get there safe. A double for himself as he celebrates with his dugout.
The catcher, number 7, Trip Davis.
Trip Davis is up next. Started today off at first base, moved to catcher. Now is asked to bat. Makes a connection, but it's a foul down the first baseline. Right over the net. Let's hope no one gets hit by that one. That one too low on the right. 1-1 on the count with one out. It's Trip Davis looking to follow up that double from Palladino. Get the Saints back in a position to score their first run, but it's a strike. Number 2. One and two on the count. Giles, he will load up. Makes a connection high down the first baseline. Luis Garrido sprinting over to try and collect, but he's not able to get there. But ultimately it's a foul. Too far on the outside. Just narrowly missed out on that one. Still 1-2 ultimately. One and two on the count. Makes a good connection this time high in the center field. Drops it right between center field and shortstop. Cam Gelwick collects, but it's too late. Trip Davis safe on first. Peyton Palladino safe on third. And up steps Tyler McClanahan to try to escort his teammate
Number 18, Tyler McClanahan.
onto the home plate. The Saints starting to make some good connections on these swings. Got themselves in a position to score once again. Shows bunt on the first one. Ultimately a ball, 1-0 on the count. McClanahan last game was able to score himself a run, now trying to assist his teammate in getting in. Shows bunts once again, but it's a strike. And Trip Davis will move himself safe on second base, gets the successful steal. For the Saints, you really got to feel still 2 outs left to go. Already a man on second and a man on third. Would really want to get your first runs, open up this game. But it's 1-2 on the count. Clay makes the connection. The foul out down the third baseline. Still 1-2 on the count. McClanahan's loading himself for a swing. Let's see if he can be the one to bring it home for Palladino. Makes the connection right in between Dawson Jones and Christian Cabina. Palladino will make it home. And Trip Davis will also score 2 runs for 1 play for the Saints. McClanahan put that right in between Dawson Jones and Christian Cabina. It was low. Neither one able to make any play for it. Ultimately drops for Luis Garrido. But by that point, too late. And Flagler get a 2-for-1 play. And now they lead 2-0. The batting order resets. And Taylor Schultz is asked to step up to the plate next. Makes another connection down the first baseline, right over Cabina's head. He will make it first. And McClanahan tries his hand at third base, and he will also get there safe. And for the Saints, that right side hit splitting the first and second baseman has been a really valuable shot for them throughout this game, and it's finally gotten them their first 2 points. Potential for more, as Mason Gray will be the next man up at the plate. The Tritons will confer with their coach. And we'll be right back with continuation of the bottom of the 5th inning. And we are back with the bottom of the 4th. Mason Gray up next to bat. Couple of important swings from previous teammates. He's got himself the chance to get Tyler McClanahan from third base to home plate for their 3rd point. Trying to pick off Taylor Schultz. Not going to get there in time. Still safe. on first base. And for Flagler, only one out. Man on first, man on third. Potential to extend this lead even further. Shows bunt. It's ultimately going to result in a ball. Tries to pick off Schultz once again at the first plate, but he is still safe. Skyle tries to load up on Schultz again. Not going to find him. The sun starts to descend on Drysdale Field. Shows him bunt once again, but Davian Giles just making sure these pitchers are trying to get to the outside. 2-0 on the count for him. It's Mason Gray trying to assist Tyler McClanahan on this score. But it's strike one for Davian Giles. 2-1 now on the count. Giles loads up. Shows bunt. Fouls behind though. Finally got the connection. But not quite there. Now 2-2 on the count. Davian Giles just checking first base once again. As Taylor Schultz will try to make it for second base. The bunt, very short. Able to catch McClanahan before he makes it. I apologize. Play results in a strikeout. Calls it a foul out. That bunt not making it out of the baseline for that one to count. And that will be the second out of the game. Makes the connection right down the third baseline. And Flagler will secure their run on third place. McClanahan and Schultz is going to try his hand at home plate as well. He will get there. As Flagler secures 2 more runs to increase their lead to 4-0. That one hit by George Gilson right down the third baseline. Beams it low all the way to the back wall. As Taylor Schultz is able to get himself all the way from first to home plate off of it. And McClanahan is also able to secure his run. And Flagler now starting to make their way into this game with 4 runs at the bottom of the fourth. 1 more out to give as well. George Gilson stands on second base. And for the Tritons, it's going to be a change of the pitchers. Davian Giles will be asked to step off the mound. Taking his place, Nick Rainey, the junior, will throw. As the wind starts to pick up here on Drysdale Field. And we're back at Drysdale Field. Pitching change between is Caden Kresak hits right down center, and he's able to get safe on first base before Joey Bazilo can get his throw.
The second baseman, number 3, Carson Page.
Davian Giles pitched for 3 2/3 innings this game. 3 strikeouts on 78 pitches. 10 hits and 4 runs, all earned with no walks. As now Nick Rainey stands at the mound for the first time this game, up against Carson Page for the Saints. So in the meantime, George Gilson was able to get himself onto third base from Kresak's solid low hit down left center. He stands in a position to score. Let's see if Carson Page can escort him. Just a ball, that one hitting the ground before picked up. 2-0 on the count. Makes a connection into the infield, right center. Kresak gets out. And the Tritons will escape inning number 4. No more points scored on behalf of George Gilson. And the Saints lead this game 4-0 going into the top of the 5th. Back at Drysdale Field for the top of the fifth, Reed Lyle will start things off for the Tritons. Swing, a bouncing ball down the third baseline. He's making it. Palladino collects, makes the throw in time to George Gilson, and they will secure the first out of the fifth inning.
Now batting, second baseman, number 3, Dawson Jones.
It's Dawson Jones at the plate now. Daniel Fisher will catch him for the first strike. Daniel Fisher has had a good day so far. Looking to keep the Tritons scoreless. So that one will foul out behind. Now 0-2 on the count for Carson Page and Daniel Fisher. Trying to see if he can throw for out number 2. It's 1-2 on the count. Makes the connection. Bouncing ball down the third baseline. Palladino collects again, makes the throw. George Gilson is there to collect. Looks like deja vu for the Saints as they make another third to first connection between Palladino and George Gilson, and Carson Page right down the baseline, but into Palladino's hands, and he is able to get him out as well. That one is a high flying ball, right field. And Carson Page is there to collect it as the Saints still holding the Tritons scoreless in the fifth inning, as we will change positions once again. And while we await the bottom of the fifth, this presentation is brought to you by New Day Design Company for all your architectural needs. Noah Bailey's Group, your local real estate experts. Northeast Florida Regional Airport, the smart choice for all your air travel needs. And 123 Burger House, grillin' and chillin'. For the Saints, finally opened up their account last inning with 4 runs scored. Trying to see if they can extend into the 6th inning, capitalize further on their advantage.
Leading off for the Saints, the designated hitter, number 36, Eli Maddox.
Eli Maddox will lead things off for the Saints. The bottom of the 5th. Squares off against Nick Rainey. That one too far to the right. Second ball. Once again, low and right for a 2-0 count. Maddox checks the swing for the third ball. One more to give before he walks. Nick Rainey will get himself a strike. Now 3-1. Tries to catch him on the fastball. The hot shot is caught by Ryan Gargett, though. Came at him quick, but he reacted well and is able to snag that one without any problem. And he sends Eli Maddox back to the dugout with nothing for their first out. Now steps up Peyton Palladino. He's had a couple of important catches and throws to secure some outs at the top of the fifth. Scored earlier in this game on their 4-run streak. So Nick Rainey throws him a strike, 1-1 on the count. He's gotten himself a single and a double in this game off of 2 hits. That one will foul out behind. Trying to see if he can continue his good day so far. It's been an important piece in this game on both sides. 2-2 on the count. So that will be ball number 3, and we have a full count. Nick Rainey trying to see if he can strike Palladino out. Is not able to. Ducks right down center field, and Palladino will get himself to first base. Gelwick will collect. That one came blazing off the bat, and Nick Rainey had no choice but to get out of the way. Could not lift the glove fast enough, and Palladino safe on first base. Trip Davis is called to the plate next. Makes the connection high down left side. Ultimately a foul. Not able to keep that one inside the baseline. And he will return to the plate. Still 1-1 on the count. Makes the connection again, high down left field, but Trip Haddad is able to collect that one on a sliding grab, scoops that one from under, and he will send Trip Davis back to the dugout for their second out of the 5th inning. It's McClanahan up next. Swing and a miss for McClanahan. That one too far left. 1-1 on the count. He scored, right, McClanahan? McClanahan scored a run earlier in this game. Trying to see if he can get himself on the base now. Move Palladino up to second. 2-1 on the count. Makes the connection high, right center field. Gelwick there to collect it, though, from under. And that will conclude the 5th inning between these two teams. Still 4 runs to nothing for the Saints as we move on to the final third of this game. Back at Drysdale Field, Daniel Fisher will take the mound once again. So far has pitched 5 innings. He's held the Tritons scoreless game on 55 pitches, 4 strikeouts in total. And that one will be a ball too low for the zone. Joey Bazidlo will square off against Fisher at the plate. Thought about it, but didn't make the commitment. And it's a strike for Fisher right down the middle. 1-1 on the count. And for Fisher, in total, only 3 hits in this game so far. But ball number 3 comes through. It's 3-1 on the count. That one a foul outside the first baseline. And now the count is full. Bazidlo trying to get himself a base hit. Fisher trying to keep on the pressure from the mound and strike him out for the first out of the 6th inning. Bazidlo is going to change out. And Bazidlo will walk to first base, and that will send on Cam Gelwick to the plate. First ball, that one to the right. Fisher just checking that first base, keeping that bay. Cam McGellick shows bunt. Palladino's there to collect, and once again the connection between him and Gilson is on point as they secure another out. Cam Gelwick not able to get there in time. Bazilo safe on second, however. And that will send in Luis Garrido. And he will ready himself up against Daniel Fisher. First ball. That one veering to the right. Swing and a miss. Daniel Fisher catching him on the first strike. 1-1 now on the count. For the Saints, their basemen have been a really important factor in keeping them scoreless alongside Daniel Fisher, making solid connections on these throws to keep them off the bases for the majority of this game. As Daniel Fisher throws a second strike, now 1-2 on the count. Checks that second base, tries to catch him, but Bazidlo remains safe. Garrido makes the connection, but Taylor Schultz is there to collect that one. Gets it to first in time for George Shellman to tag him out. Bazilo moves to third. Luis Garrido sent back to the dugout. 2 outs at the top of the 6th. And that will bring on Ryan Gargett, who has a man on third trying to secure the Tritons' first run of this game, seeing if they can edge their way back into contention for this one. Daniel Fisher will throw the first strike against him. Oh, that went too far. Bounces around the plate. Trip Davis able to collect. Just bounces off to the left. Now 1-1 on the count. Swing and a miss. Daniel Fisher catches him with a fast one. 1-2 on the count. Ryan Gargett only 1 strike to give. Really would want to secure the Tritons' first run in this game, but he's able. Misses the catch, and he will be tagged out at first, and for the Tritons, still remains scoreless. A swing and a miss from Gargett, but a little bit of a flub on the catch. Gives him the ability to run, but still not able to get there in time, as Flagler College will be up to bat next. Back at Dristdale Field, this broadcast is brought to you by Pink Stork, the wellness brand for women. PIP Printing, achieve your marketing goal. And the University of Florida Health at St. John's, a bright new beginning in healthcare. So for the Saints, able to keep Tritons off the board despite Joey Bazidlo holding the third base, was not able to escort him to home plate for their first point of the game, and it's still 4-0 for the Saints. So the batting order will reset the bottom of the sixth. Taylor Schultz takes his place at the plate. Squaring off against Nick Rainey, the first time these two have met eye to eye in this game. Makes the connection, but fouls out behind. Zero one on the count. Nick Rainey's able to drop that one into the zone for the second strike. Now 0-2 on the count. Putting Schultz on the ropes. Makes the connection, but it's a foul outside of the third baseline. Still 0-2 on the count. Tries to catch him with the fastball, but too far to the right for the first ball. Loads up a similar pitch. Second ball, 2-2 on the count. Trying to see if he can strike Schultz out. Connection is high and behind for another foul. Nick Rainey loads up the throw, but that one too inside. Schultz moves out the way, and now we have a full count. Nick Rainey trying to start off the bottom of the sixth with a strikeout. And he will do so. Caught Taylor Schultz swinging for the first out of the game.
The left fielder, number 9, Mason Gray.
So now Mason Gray will step up to the plate. Makes a connection, a bouncing ball, let right infield, but will not get there. Nick Rainey able to move himself over to first base in time to get Mason Gray out, and now Flagler College already 2 outs on 2 batters. Potential for a 1-2-3 inning for Nick Rainey and co. George Gilson has been an important member of this team on first base so far in this game. Now trying to see if he can get himself on base. Checks his swing for the first ball. That one 2 inside for the second ball. Strike 1 for Nick Rainey, 2-1 on the count. Drops that one into the right side of the zone. Fastball comes in, but George Gilson's able to connect. Dawson Jones scoops it up in between first and second base, moves it over to Christian Cabina for the third out, And that will conclude inning number 6. An important inning for the Saints as they were able to hold off potential scoring attempt from the Tritons. Had a man ready to run on third base, but able to get them out before anything could be capitalized on and still hold a 4-run lead in this game. We will be right back for the top of the 7th. Started inning number 7. Already the Tritons getting a man on first base. Christian Perez now batting, makes a solid connection down the third baseline. But Mason Gray there to collect. Christian Perez's attempt snuffed short down the baseline, and Christian Cabina will be forced to stay on first base. Reed Lyle up next at the plate. Strike 1 for Daniel Fisher. 0-1 on the count. Well hit attempt from Christian Perez was snuffed short. And last one, Reed Lyles trying to see if he can get himself on the base, but it's already strike 2 for Daniel Fisher. Now 0-2 on the count, putting the pressure on Lyle. Catches him swinging again inside, and it's strike 3 for out number 2. The Saints continuing to apply pressure from the mound, keeping the Tritons off of the bases. Dawson Jones at bat next. Daniel Fisher throws another strike. Second strike for Daniel Fisher. He's been on fire in this game. Really coming alive throughout the middle portions of this game and trying to see if he can get 3 strikeouts on 4 people at bat. Start off the 7th inning. Ball number 2, that one too far on the inside, and now it's 2-2. Daniel Fisher really wanting to try to get this 3rd strike. Send the Tritons back into the outfield with nothing. Ball number 3, and now full count between these two. Daniel Fisher Dawson Jones. Really important moment for the Tritons here. Want to stay alive in the 7th inning. Dawson Jones makes the connection. A diving catch by Peyton Palladino makes it the connection between Palladino and George Gilson once again. These two have been on fire all day. That ball like a tightrope between them, securing multiple outs, and they send the Tritons batting squad back into the dugout with nothing once again as we move into the bottom of inning number 7. Still 4-0 for the Saints. Back at Drysdale Field, this game is brought to you by Hyundai of St. Augustine. When it comes to dreaming big, we're thinking of every mile. Salt life, eat, drink, and be salty. Holiday Inn Express, Flagler College Athletics official hotel. And lastly, Sonny's, local pitmasters since '68. We don't just serve barbecue, we are barbecue. Well, the Palladino and George Gilson connection from first to third base has been a huge, huge defining factor in this game for the Saints in the field. Able to keep the Tritons off the bases, preventing them from scoring runs throughout this entire game. So now the Saints get their chance to bat in the 7th, looking to try to see if they can kill off this game for good. Secure their 3rd win in a row. Strike 1 will be thrown from Nick Rainey. 2-1 on the count. That one fouls out down the third baseline. Caden Kresak had himself a multi-base run for a score earlier in this game off of one of his teammates' bats. Moves out of the way for that one. Third ball. Count is full between these two men. Nick Rainey trying to see if he can get Triton's first out of the inning, but it's not going to happen. Caden Kresak will connect on the bat, but it's collected quickly by Christian Cabina. Moves himself over to the first bag, and that will be the first out for the Saints. It's now Carson Page at bat. First ball too far to the right. Swing and a miss from Carson Page. Sound like he just missed that one, and it's 1-1 on the count now. Second strike. Nick Rainey catching the Saints batters on the edge of the strike zones. Tries to catch him high, but it's just another ball. 2-2 now on the count. Swing and a miss from Carson Page. Nick Rainey strikes him out. So now the designated hitter, Eli Maddox, will move himself to the plate. Only one out to give for the Saints in this remainder of the inning. Swing and a miss from Maddox. Nick Rainey trying to see if he can secure himself another strikeout. So that one hits the floor. Secured by the catcher. Now 1-1 on the count. Nick Rainey loads himself up. Swing, and it's a big connection down the third baseline inside, and Maddox will easily go first base. Looking for number 2. Trip Haddad finally collects the ball, gets it over to Joey Bazidlo. But Eli Maddox far and away easily moves himself to second base. That one cracked right down the third baseline from Maddox, and Trip Haddad has to move all the way over to the corner to collect that one. Gives Eli Maddox more than enough time to make an easy double for himself. It's now Peyton Palladino at the bat. First one's a foul out the first baseline. It's been a monster in the field this game. Has himself a score. Scored a run earlier in this game as well. Got himself a double earlier in this game. He's had a fantastic one. But he's already on 2 strikes. Only 1 to give. Trying to see if he can move Eli Maddox to third base. Potentially grab the Saints a couple more runs before we move into the 8th inning. That one too high for the first ball. 1-2 now. Ball number 2. That one just not clipping the corner of the strike zone. Connects it down the first baseline. Mightily similar to Eli Maddox's hit. And Eli Maddox will secure home plate. scoring another run. And Palladino will get himself yet another double in this game. Now 5-0 for the Saints.
The catcher, number 7, Trip Davis.
Now Trip Davis at bat. Couple good hits from his teammates, seeing if he can try to follow it up. Hits it right down center off of the pitcher's foot, making the run to first base, but he is not able to get there, and that will conclude inning number 7 between these two teams. A couple important baseline hits from Palladino and Eli Maddox will get the Saints another run late in the inning to extend their lead by 5 runs to nothing as we move on to the final 2 innings of this game. Be back with more action from Drysdale Field. Welcome back to Drysdale Field. Saints up 5 runs as we reach the top of the 8th. Night has fully descended in St. Augustine, Florida. Wind howling here. See if it impacts the game in any way. Trip Haddad steps up to the plate first for this inning. That one inside for the first ball, just missing Trip Haddad. Daniel Fisher able to escape a free walk from that one. Just doesn't clip the batter. Right down the middle, but that one too high. 2-0 now. Daniel Fisher will throw his first strike. He's had an impressive game, pitched already 7 innings. Throws the second strike. 2-2 now. He's trying to continue to pour it on the Tritons from the mound. Strike 3, catches him right on the edge of that zone, drops it in there perfectly. And he will send Trip Haddad back to the dugout. It's Joey Bazidlo will move to the plate next. Had a chance to score a run himself earlier in this game, but just wasn't able to find it. Finds a good connection. Left field right over Taylor Schultz and easily makes himself safe on first base. Drops it right on the money between Schultz, Palladino, and Mason Gray. As now batting order reset for the Tritons. So Cam Gelwick will step up next. And he will connect as well, high flying down the third baseline. And that one is all the way gone. Say goodbye to that one. Cam Gelwick, double home run. And the Tritons put themselves back into this game with a two-run play. Cam Gelwick's third home run of the year. He cracked that one. Sounded like a shotgun right down the baseline, right over the wall. And you will not see that ball again for the rest of this night. As the Saints will confer on the mound. Looks like a potential pitching change, and Daniel Fisher will be asked to step off the mound. The crowd showing their love. He's had a fantastic game. So, on to the mound comes Blake Pasanti, the junior from Maryland, replacing Daniel Fisher, who had himself a phenomenal 7 1/3 innings pitching, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 6 hits, and 2 runs scored for his day as he steps off the mound. And stepping onto the plate, Luis Garrido. Cam Gelwick feels like it's lit a little bit of a spark in these Tritons. Gets himself a double home run. And Blake Pasanti's first pitch will be a strike. Now it feels like the Tritons right back in the thick of this game with an inning and a half left to play for them. But Blake Pasanti, first 2 pitches, first 2 strikes for him, 0-2 on the count. Does not get the third. Right down the third baseline for Luis Garrido, easily takes first, looking for number 2. Carson Page isn't able to get there, and he's going to slide for third, but will be. Looks like he just made it safe on third. Looked extremely close, but umpire says he caught the bag. No. Was not able to get there. Very close call, but tried his luck at third base, but just a tad bit too overzealous and just wasn't able to get there in time. Coach had a few words to say to umpire about that one. Extremely close. As Blake Pasanti has opened up his account The Fusaw pitches 1-1 on the count. Now facing off against Ryan Gargett. Only one out to give left for the Tritons in this inning. Just checks his swing in time. Ball number 3, that one bit too low. 3-1 now. One out to give for the Tritons. Swing. Misses it for another strike. The umpire will hand off. Full count now between Ryan Gargett and Blake Pasanti. For the Tritons, desperately wanting to stay alive in this inning. Had a huge crack from Cam Gelwick to score themselves 2 runs on the first homer of this game, and they will do just that. Ryan Gargett will take a 4-ball walk. And now Christian Cabina will be up next. Fastball down the hole, but it's just a bit too left. First ball. Strike number 1 for Blake Pasanti. Trying to see if he can close off the top of this inning with only 2 runs from the Tritons allowed. 1-1 now. Cabina makes the connection, but it's a foul outside on the first baseline. 1-2 now. Pasanti loads up. Christian Cabina will make the hit, but Taylor Schultz is there to collect it at the shortstop, and easy throw over to George Gilson will tag Christian Cabina before he can get to the bag. Only 2 runs allowed top of the 8th from the Saints. As we move into the bottom of the 8th inning, 5-2 to the Saints, and they will bat up next. Back at Drysdale Field, this broadcast is brought to you by Spartan Orthopedic Institute, Sports Medicine and Robotic Surgery. The St. Augustine Marina for all your boating and fishing needs. And the St. John's Family Funeral Home and Ceremony. Services unique as life. So for the Tritons, a massive homer by Cam Gelwick on the outside of the third baseline. Kept it inside, got it right over the wall, and put the Tritons back in arm's distance of this game, but not much breathing room left for them They are going to have to make this inning, what remains of it, and the next one count if they want to try to find their way back through the door. Potentially send this one to extra innings. It's Nick Rainey's first throw to Tyler McClanahan will be a strike. Just connects off the top of the bat. Foul to the outside. Now 0-2 on the count. Connects. Bouncing ball in the infield. Collected by Dawson Jones. Gets it over to Cabina on first. And that will be out number 1 for the Tritons. Batting order reset for the Saints. Now Taylor Schultz meets eye to eye with Nick Rainey once again. Makes the connection, but just fouls outside on the first baseline. Didn't quite catch it. Makes another connection down center field. Cam Gelwick moves right under. Easy grab for himself. Out number 2 now for the Saints, and you got to wonder what the strategy is for them, how exactly they want to close out this game. Keep the Tritons out of their hair, prevent them from making any sort of comeback in this game for the Tritons. Really important for them to strike the Saints' attack short right here and now. Get themselves back on the plate. Potentially make a 5-run comeback late in this game. First pitch by Nick Rainey is a ball. Too low. 1-0 on the count. Bouncing hit. Fouls out behind. This is Kevin Riscassi at bat for the first time this game, and he will take a walk as the... Oh. Correction, just barely missing him. So, just a reset, ball number 2. Now 3-1 on the count. Kevin Riscassi trying to get on base. Will make that connection high down center field. Cam Gelwick once again moving under to collect, and that will wrap up inning number 8. Crucial one for the Tritons as they will finally open up their account at the top with a double home run from Cam Gelwick. His 3rd one of the season. As we move into the final inning of this game, Tritons trying to make a late rally and snuff this Saints lead, and for the Saints trying to close this one out. Prevent any ideas of a comeback from the Tritons. And we will be right back for the final inning of this game. Final inning here, ladies and gentlemen, at Drysdale Field. Couple changes for the Flagler lineup. Tyler McClanahan back over to left outfield, replacing Mason Gray. Jaden Ross moves himself into right outfield, filling that position. And lastly, another pitching change for the Saints. Isaiah Wellman called to close this one out in the final inning, looking to strike down the Tritons' movement for a comeback right here and now. The senior transfer from Georgia State, and that one is a high-flying ball, left center field. Taylor Schultz moves under, collects that one easily. Christian Perez retired off of that grab by Taylor Schultz, and now Reed Lyle moves to the plate, trying to see if he can find an opening for the Tritons at the end of this game. Strike one thrown by Isaiah Wellman, though. Wellman was called to close the game last night against the Tritons, trying to see if he can do the same thing. Diving grab by George Gilson was not able to be made, and Reed Lyle puts himself on first base safely, just put it in between Carson Page and George Gilson. Wasn't able to snug that one. Looked like a superhero dive, but just was not able to make that grab. And now it's Dawson Jones up next. 1-0 on the count now. Tritons trying to find a way through the door in this game. Strike number one thrown by Isaiah Wellman, though. Did he come in to close the game today as well? Came in to close the game today as well. Sorry, correction. Did not make an appearance today, but made one last night. Trying to end off the Tritons. This one a little bit more high pressure, as the Tritons are just a few good swings away from finding their way back into this game. But it's 1-2 on the count. Isaiah Wellman trying to strike out Dawson Jones here. Will not do so. Down the third baseline. Outside. McClanahan has to scramble. Dawson Jones will make it to second base. Reed Lyle puts himself on third. And now the Tritons are fully in business. 2 runners on the board for them. As Zay Stark, the junior outfielder, will step up to the plate for the first time this game. Asked to give the Tritons another run scored. That one too high from Isaiah Wellman. First ball. Reed Lyle securely on third base. Dawson Jones with a massive third baseline hit. Got himself a double. Swing and a miss from Stark. Now the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Makes the connection center right field, and he will not, Carson Page, not able to scoop it off the ground, and the Tritons will secure themselves another 2 runs. 2 RBI for Zayd Stark, and the Tritons within 1. here in the ninth. As the Saints will confer on the mound. Potentially another pitching change. And yes, it will be so, as Isaiah Wellman will retreat to the dugout. And for the Tritons, this is absolutely within distance now. 2 outs left to give, and now within one, a couple crucial double runs. It's put them back into touching distance of this game, trying to see if they can equalize late here. Final inning here at Drysdale Field. We have some late drama instigated by the Tritons. 4 runs scored. Now within grasp of a huge comeback from 5-0 down going into the 8th inning. Now staring only a 1-run deficit for them. So pitching change was made in the break. Isaiah Wellman steps off, and on steps the mound Jake Hill, junior out of Georgia. He will try to seal the deal for Flagler here in what's become a much tighter game than they would want. It's Joey Bazidlo now at the plate. He's had himself a solid performance in this game. Trying to see if he can get himself on base. Take advantage of this comeback by the Tritons. But it's the first strike for Jake Hill. 1-1 on the count now. Tries to check. He is trying to steal, and it's not even close. Zaid Stark went for it from first to second. And Jake Hill bit on the first base, but George Gilson is able to get it over to second in time to secure that out. And now the Tritons, what looked like an advantageous position, staring with one more out to give off a failed stolen base attempt. Still Joey Bazidlo at the plate. The shortstop have a little bit of arguing. It's Joey Bazidlo, the shortstop. High pressure moment. Makes the connection off the first baseline, but George Gilson makes the connection. Jake Hill is there in time. Joey Bazilo out. And the Saints hold on at the death. 5-4. It was a late drama, late rally from the Tritons. A massive homer for a double by Cam Gelwick, along with a double run scored in the ninth inning. But it is too little, too late for the Tritons. The Saints will clutch it out tonight as they move up to 8-2 in their first 10 games of the season, keeping their win streak against the Tritons alive. They came to the Drysdale Field with 2 games to play, and they will leave Drysdale Field with 2 wins added to their record. Some particularly great performances from their baseman. Palladino had himself a phenomenal game. George Gilson held first base solidly, closed out that game with a sliding catch toss to Jake Hill to close this one out, and the Saints survive by 1 run. And that concludes things here at Drysdale Field. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the final game of the weekend between these 2 teams. That's been it from us. My name is Caleb Searcy, and until tomorrow, be safe, be good to each other, and have a wonderful evening. Good night, everyone.